Welcome to Strange Wrenching. I'm Paul. First of all, I'd like to apologize for any background noises. We live in the country. I hear a combine running in the background over there. The lady across the street decided to feed every fucking bird in the neighborhood. We're gonna roll with it, okay? I figured for our first real episode, I would go over what I'm about here. I love old cars, trucks, tractors, you name it. If it's got an engine, I like it. At the end of the day, you could see I'm definitely a Pontiac guy, but I'm not really brand specific. Cool is cool. I work on just about anything. You're mostly mid-60s cars through mid-90s stuff. I try to stay away from fuel injection unless it's early TDI or early 40FI. Other than that, I'm not into it. But my main interest in cars is really second-gen Firebirds, Trans Ams. Got my 78 Firebird formula. It's in the middle of a Trans Am clone over here. This is my wife's 80TA. The first project we're really going to dig into here would be the 1980 step-side Ford you see behind me here. Sorry, I'm very awkward on camera if you haven't figured that out yet. We're going to work past this shit. I live in Western New York and winter's coming. I have a lot of projects I really have to get done before the snow flies. Unlike a lot of other YouTubers, I don't have the luxury of a garage or a shop. I have a drive-under basement. I do a lot of work under there and you'll see me in there a lot this winter. Again, as I said before, I'm in Western New York. We're trying to beat the rain and the snow that's inevitably coming. It's the middle of October. We aren't going to get around it. So stick with me here. Please bear with my social awkwardness. I guess it's technically the eyes of the world. Not a good way to look at it if you're socially awkward like myself, by the way. But we're going to get through this. I'm going to get better. The editing is going to get better. Sorry there's a million cars going by today. I'm sure you can hear them. Every guy in the neighborhood decided to mow his lawn too. It's a nice day, so it is what it is. But stick with me here. We're going to get through this. The videos are going to be fun. Normally I'm a goofball jackass, and you will see that. I just need to get used to this. Maybe a couple of good comments will help me get rolling. I don't know. Or if I'm absolutely terrible, just tell me and I guess I'll hang it up. I don't know. But thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks. Alright, as I was saying before, we got to get the fuel system ready to go into this old Ford truck. I have a nice fuel tank for it. It came with straps, as you can see. One of them's really nice. This one is probably okay, but if you look at that end there in that area, it's thin. And I'm sure it would hold up in the truck, but you don't want your gas tank to fall out. I could order one of these and wait a couple of days, or I could go to the parts store. Same thing, they're not going to have it. This truck's 44 years old. So what I'm going to do with this, and you could say it's right or wrong, whatever. If you don't like it, make your own YouTube channel and fix shit for people to critique. What I'm going to do, I traced this onto a piece of cardboard, so we have this general shape here. I traced this onto a piece of scrap, cut it out. Now we have it in metal form. And what I'm going to do, and this doesn't have to be a permanent fix, and it probably won't be, but I need this truck together and running and moving so I don't have to mess with it or push it around. It's heavy. We're going to take this piece, clamp it over this here to the proper alignment. We're going to weld it together, and then there we go. It'll be good enough to get us moving. Now, I didn't go out and buy sheet metal. I'm working on trucks all the time, or any cars. This is a piece of an old cab corner, or a new cab corner rather, that I bought. And whenever I do my cutoffs and stuff when I'm doing body work, I save pieces. You can't save every little piece because you'll get shit for being a hoarder from your wife. But you save the pieces that are decent, and now you got a nice piece of 18 gauge that came in handy. It was free, or as free as it can really get with you bought it once before, why throw it out? So I'm going to take this, I'm going to weld it together, and then we'll be back. Alright, and there we have it. That took about 5 minutes. Now, even if the parts store did have one of these, you ain't getting it in 5 minutes. Not where I live. You're talking at least an hour round trip to get to the next decent sized town from where I am that might have something. And it's just not worth it to me. This is plenty strong. It'll hold up okay. No, the welds aren't the prettiest. I use my crappy little flux core welder. My big welder's tucked away behind some stuff and I didn't feel like getting into it. But there you go. Now unfortunately the day's running late for me and I'm probably not going to get much more done. I need to get the truck inside. I need to reorganize my cars and we'll pick back up tomorrow. I really wanted to get this done today. But I said before, I have 2 little kids and it's near Halloween and there's been some trunk or treating events going on, and your kids are more important than your car, even though some days you might think you'd rather work on your stuff. Going out and being with your kids is what you should really be doing, and I hope those of you guys that are watching this that have kids feel that way, because Someday they're going to remember all the shitty things you did or every time you bailed on them. Okay, we're back. It's the next day. It's Sunday morning. I'm fresh home from church. My daughters are at Sunday school. I have a little bit of time to work on the truck. It's a rainy day. I've got the truck inside. Now we're going to address the fuel system. If you're used to working on this stuff or have seen it before, you'll already know I have the mechanical fuel pump off. It goes right here. I took the power steering pump off just to give a little bit better of a view of what I'm doing here. Now, the pump rides on a lobe on the camshaft, and that's what makes it go around and connect to your siphon pump. I find the best way to do this, to get it where it goes on easy, is to get the lobe of your camshaft at the best spot. And to do that, you can put a breaker bar with a socket of whatever size you need to get your crank to turn, and you just roll it around until you find that sweet spot where the pump wants to go in easiest. No matter where you are, there is going to be pressure on this arm, so it's a little bit tough. But let's see what we can do here. I think I got it pretty close. Let's try to get some bolts started. I'm sorry, you're not going to see the best. I have the camera on a tripod. There was really no good way to balance it under the hood, but let's see what we can do. Make sure you have your gasket on there as well, because you're going to be really angry when you get this all together, especially if it bites you and you don't have a gasket on there. Okay, let's see. Here's one bolt starting. Let's put another socket on here. Okay, there's one. Now it's going to want to go on at a bit of an angle. They actually have a stronger spring than you would think inside these pumps, and it's actually quite a struggle sometimes to get these on here. Let's see if we're getting it. Alright, it appears our second bolt is started. So here it goes. It's drawing on. My wires are in the way. I haven't really ran this yet. I did one little test fire, found out the fuel pump was bad, and that was really it. Nothing's got any kind of rhyme or reason under the hood yet. I will get into organizing all these wires and stuff, but I want to make sure it runs good and that it's not coming back out of the truck. And there you have it. Just like that, we have a fuel pump on here. Now, you don't have to disconnect things. I didn't have the radiator fully connected, so our lower cooling hose was already off and out of the way, which is very convenient. The power steering pump wasn't hooked up yet anyway, so that wasn't a big deal. I would recommend if you're doing it this way, it is a little, you gain a lot more space if you do it without the pump on there, but you do not need to do that. Now I'm going to get everything back together. I might leave the pump off for now until we have it running. I think I'm going to run new fuel lines on this truck. I blew them out. There was a lot of mud daubers in there. But it's like 6 or 7 feet of line from here to the tank, and I think I'd rather just go new. It's 44 years old. I have to go pick up some stuff to do that. I can also hear that my kids are home from church school already. It took a long time to prep this and get it ready. So I'll be back in a little bit here. Okay, it's a little bit later. We're back under the truck. I decided against replacing the metal fuel line on this truck. After looking at it, it's actually really nice. Sorry, this camcorder does not have the best footage. I bought a cheap Amazon one that had so-so reviews, and all the bad reviews were correct. I'll be sending this back, and this is the only video that's going to be shot with this camera, I assure you. So please stick with me. I'm sorry, it's terrible. Anyways, this line's really nice. It has oil on it and stuff, but it looks crusty. It's not. It's still really nice, clean, smooth metal. It blew out nice. It's fine. you can see I spliced in some new rubber here. It had rubber here before that was cut, and I'm assuming there was an inline filter in that section, which we will put something back because the truck's been sitting a long time. Now that I'm under the truck was also a good time to look and make sure all of our wiring looks good, which other than being dirty, it's actually really nice wiring. There's a couple little butt splices I want to clean up here, but everything looks good. I've already tested the lights and stuff, so I know they work, so for the most part the wiring has got to be intact. I also noticed that the shifter mechanism for the floor shifter someone put in here, which is up here, was not even clipped in, and that's why the truck wouldn't shift. I had to climb underneath here and do it before. I got that all put back together because now's the time. I had space while the fuel tank is out, so I took care of that while I was underneath here, and now it does work, though it seems like it needs some kind of support brace on the floor. Maybe we'll make a little video on that. The floor is very tin canny, and it just wants to bend the floor, and there's a crack there, probably from somebody forcing it to shift before. I'm going to get the fuel tank ready. We'll get that in here, and then, or we'll get it lined up to get in here, and we'll carry on from there. Alright, and we're back again. I got the fuel tank installed in the truck. Fortunately, with the step side not having the bed inside it, you can see there's the top of the fuel tank. I still have to hook up the filler neck. As you can see, it's just free floating here. I actually just knocked it out of the truck. Oh well. I was going to record me jacking the tank up, put it in there, but all you really would have seen was my body laying in the way. That basically wraps up our fuel system for now. There is a new rubber line connecting the tank to the sending unit. I do have to plug in the sending unit. I just realized there's the wire. Other than that, I am unhooked in the front up here. We're hooked from the pump to the carburetor. However, I left the feed line here unhooked because I would like to run from a can into the fuel pump at this port here in the inlet, just to make sure everything's running good before I fill the tank with gas or anything. You never know with old projects, and this one is one of those ones where I bought this truck in pieces, and I kind of think I might have bought someone else's problem. Most car guys have been there anyways. So that's kind of with our fuel system for now. I do have to tap into the 12-volt system of the truck somewhere, or get a keyed 12-volt signal, rather, for our HEI ignition I installed. I got rid of the old Ford style with the separate coil. I like these GM HEI ones. They're cheap. This was like 60 bucks on Amazon. When I did my first little test fire of it, I just jumpered a wire from it with an alligator clip here to the positive on the battery. That gave us our juice. You're essentially hot wiring the truck. My key and everything else does work on this anyhow. So that kind of wraps it up with our fuel system, and I think it's kind of the end of this video. No, it's not going to be a long one. I'm sorry. This camera that I bought, again, as I stated before, is of very poor quality. I'm having a hard time even getting videos loaded onto a computer with it. On top of that, I do not even have internet. I actually just had Spectrum come install internet today. So that should be a big difference on helping me get stuff done. And on top of that, I'm going to go get a new camera tomorrow. Then I can really start filming. This will be the last video in crap quality. Then we'll get into doing some wiring work, getting our accessories on the engine, the belt drive. I also filled the radiator up the other day and figured out that this water pump that is new, or never used rather, unfortunately has a bad seal. It's leaking out of the weep hole. Sometimes they leak a little bit and they stop. This one did not, so I thought it was leaking out of this point here, so I double clamped it, and there was some seepage coming out. Double clamp fixed it there, filled it up a little bit more. We got leakage out of the bottom seep hole, not the top one. And there we are. So now we're going to be at the mercy of waiting for a water pump. I may still try to run it without it if it leaks a little bit. Oh well, we'll just use water so we're not dumping antifreeze on the ground for A, spending the money on it, and B, polluting with it, I suppose, if you're worried about that. So that's going to be it for right now. Thanks for watching. Please stick with me. I got some really cool project ideas, and I have some project cars lined up already here. I'm going to go look at another one this week. Hopefully I pick it up. If I do, I really think it's going to be a project a lot of people are going to want to see, and hopefully it's something that can actually build me a decent YouTube channel. So here we go. Thanks.